one of the bigger questions I had about this Buffalo Bills team, and I know you cover all of the NFL, but in particular with the Bills, how it was addressed a year ago, right? I mean, I think people hem and hawed around the decision-making by the coaching staff, and it really showed the pressure and stress they were under in that moment and some of the decision-making that went into it to lose that game, to how they were going to address it. How have they addressed it inside that locker room? Because they really haven't talked about it publicly, but it had to be addressed at some point. Otherwise, they were going to be in just this limbo heading into this next season.
You just nailed it. It remains to be seen how they respond to it. And I think, there's three ways to look at it. And number one, I think that the fans, the hardworking, people here of Western New York deserved some type of explanation for one of the biggest meltdowns in sports history. And then, us in the media, we're always trying to know what in the heck went down. But that third group, the players themselves, the coaches themselves, the employees of the Buffalo Bills internally, the 48 hours after that game and talking to players and coaches and people in and around the team, they didn't really know either. They were stunned. We're talking starters, backups, coaches. It surprised them that the season ended so abruptly. And look, part of it is the way an NFL season ends. You're not going to all reconvene in the film room the next day and break down, what went right, what went wrong. You clean up your locker and you're out of there. But it still was really strange. I mean, that's kind of the word that just kept coming up. It was weird. It was strange. It was odd that it just kind of ended and people just kind of went about their merry way. And yeah, Sean McDermott, he stuck to his line. I mean, he stuck to execution in his press conference after the game. He stuck to execution at his final press conference and just kind of chose to not really get into any details. That's kind of par for the course for him as the head coach. So that's his prerogative. I mean, you played in the NFL, Ryan, and now you cover the league and cover the gamut. You hear that word, usually it means player error. It's the coaches putting it on the players that, hey, they weren't able to execute, but I guess it's broad enough that you can kind of just skate by and not really explain what happened.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and I've been really interested to see how they respond and handle it. Shirley camp looks like it's going full go. Josh Allen, everybody seems healthy and energized. They are, I think, the reigning favorite in Las Vegas to win the Super Bowl this year. They are one of my favorites. One of the bigger questions, what does this team look like post Brian Daboll, right? He moves on to the New York Jets. The best thing I think that I thought they did is they stayed in-house, right? Ken Dorsey gets elevated to offensive coordinator. He's been Josh Allen's quarterback coach for the last few years. He is going to make the offense his own, but I think that's probably a really good sign for Bills fans out there that we're going to see a lot of the same exciting offense with the Bills with Ken Dorsey at the helm.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping, that it's just seamless and that they're going to keep a lot of this, basically all the same terminology and the same plan of attack moving to Ken Dorsey. And it's a fun offense. I mean, you've got an MVP frontrunner in Josh Allen, and I think that's part of the frustration, right, and how that last season ended. You had a quarterback who was just feeling it. I mean, I don't really know what team, what defense, what scheme would have stopped Josh Allen last season the way he was playing. So, you hope he picks up where he left off, and I think that Isaiah McKenzie in the slot is going to be playing a huge role. He's always kind of been there. They just haven't really used him. So he steps into that role that Cole Beasley playing before. I think Gabe Davis is a rising star that could become a full-fledged star very, very soon. And Stephon Diggs is always going to demand attention. So I think where it gets interesting, though, there was some friction between McDermott and Daboll toward the end of last season on how much to run the ball, kind of like, that balance between run and pass. And what happens this year, with Ken Dorsey? Does he kind of give in to wanting to run the ball more and have a little bit more balance, or what I think you should do when you have Josh Allen, you keep your foot just slammed against that gas pedal and you just let him do his thing, running the ball, throwing the ball, and just go that route. So nothing really matters right now for the Bills in August. Nothing matters in September, October, November. I mean, this is a team that is in major Super Bowl or bust mode, and I mean that in all the best reasons. When's the last time a Bills team was in Super Bowl or bust mode? I mean, it was I don't know. Me and my friends were probably 2-3 years old at the time. Yeah,
it was Jim Kelly's run, and it was Thurman Thomas's run when they were going to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, really, right? Yeah. I mean, that was the place. What do you think? Do you think that inside that facility they like because of how people are perceiving them to be this year, they like that? Or is this something that this team, having that moniker on them as Super Bowl or bust, may not be able to handle the pressure?
That's where the psychology of the team gets so interesting, because I think they got to this point by really leaning into that underdog role. I mean, you're talking 17 years without this team even making the playoffs, the 4 Super Bowl losses before that. You sprinkle in a little Music City Miracle, you sprinkle in a little Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie quarterback controversy. It's been, taking dark turn after dark turn. And so Sean McDermott comes in and they fumigate the building. They put in, their culture, their way of doing things. Everything is so detail oriented where it's down to a T if it's May 17th, let alone October or November. So all that stuff is good, but you're not the underdog anymore. I mean, you're the favorite. You've got the target on your back. You've got the MVP favorite. You have all these weapons. You signed Von Miller. It is, I didn't think anything less than the Super Bowl probably is a disappointment in a loaded AFC. I think they'll handle it well. Even though last season ended so abruptly and the head coach really didn't take accountability in the moment, privately or publicly, I think that every year genuinely is a new year. They lost some players, they added some players, and this does seem like a team in a really good headspace overall. And you can be in a really good headspace when you have the quarterback you do. I mean, he can make a lot of problems disappear. As long as Josh Allen is out there, they should be the Super Bowl favorite. Absolutely.